Okay, number 12 on that same base intro ditto. Very similar to 11, so if you didn't watch the first video, you could start with this one. Let's change 16 and 8 to bases of 2, for example. The number 16 is 2 to the 4th power. Bring down that root 5. The number 8 is 2 to the 3rd power, and that 3rd power I'm going to distribute to save some time and space. So 3 times 2x is 6x, and 3 times -1 is -3. Now I need to get rid of this radical symbol. The 4 and the 5 become a fractional exponent, 4/5, and now the square root symbol there is gone. So at this point, I have my exponents that I'm going to set equal to one another, and we're going to start to do this skill. Even though I could probably get around it on a problem this friendly, I'm going to do fraction busters. Okay, we've been doing fraction busters for a long time. Fraction buster says multiply the entire problem by a common denominator to rid yourself of any fraction. There's only one denominator, it's that 5. So I'm going to multiply all the terms in this problem by 5. So 4/5 times 5 is just going to get me 4. 6x times 5 is 30x. And 3 times 5 is 15. So same equation, different looks, no more fractions. And then I can solve that guy. Add 15 to both sides and divide, and I see 19/30ths. Okay, so fraction busters now is going to be a common theme down the stretch here. 1/5, 25, and 5 looks like the base is going to be 5. A plane 5, remember, has a 1 as an exponent, which is the smallest base of a 5. So when I move it to the top, it's 5 to the -1st power. The number 25 is 5 squared, so the squared has to be distributed. I'll put 4x minus 6 here. And since that already has the same smallest base of 5, I'll write that as a fractional exponent, x over 3. These two bases are the same, which means I need to add these guys together. So if I added them together, I could write 5 to those two being added together. I'm just going to now add those together. That'll give me a single 5. Since this guy's a single 5, I can ditch the 5s, which means I can just add those equations together and ditch the 5s. At this point, I'm going to do fraction busters. So I'm going to multiply everything by 3. You'll notice I didn't combine those. You can combine those two like terms if you wanted to. But since I'm doing fraction busters, I really don't concern myself with that step but you totally can. So multiplying everything by 3 gives me that equation, and then that 3 is gone. And now I can solve for x. Let's see. I'll move all the x's over and combine those guys now, which I could have combined them earlier. Subtract 12, that's -11. So divide. Looks like I did negative divide by negative, so my answer is 21/11ths. All right, let's dive over to 14. We got time. We're doing all right. This one's a little tricky. This right here concept is tricky for some folks. A plane 3, don't forget, is 3 to the 1st power, so I'm going to write that so I don't forget it. 27 is 3 to the 3rd power, so the 3rd power and the x turn into 3x. The plane 9 is 3 to the 2nd power. So let me let you get caught up while I erase. Sorry. The number 9 is 3 squared. 3 squared. And since these guys are written like that, that still means times. So it's 9 times that guy. I could put a dot here, just like I put a dot here for multiplication. The 3 is the base, so I don't need to change it, but I need to figure out how to get rid of the square root symbol. Hopefully you remember this. The number 3 has an exponent right there. It's a 1, but we don't write it. A square root symbol has a root right there, but we don't write it. It's a 2. So the fractional exponent that this turns into is a half. And hopefully 1/2 looks familiar. 1/2 means square root. Okay, so then I would combine these by adding those together, 1 plus 3x. And I would combine those by adding them together, 2 plus 1/2. You'll notice I didn't actually combine them. And I would have the bases of 3's still here, but the next step would be to get rid of those 3's, so I might as well get rid of them now. Here's an equation where I could do fraction busters, right? I have a fraction, and I'm going to multiply everything by 2 to get rid of that 2 there. So this would turn into 2 and 6x and 4 and finally 1. Kind of unorthodox the way I did that because I know a lot of you want to combine that, but it still works. If I would have made that 2 and 1/2 and multiplied by 2, I would have gotten 5. Well, there's my 5 that I'm about to get here. Let's bring that 2 over to this 5. So that's just 3 when you subtract 2 from both sides. So I get 3/6, which I know a lot of you would want to make 1/2. That's up to you. Okay, now our culminating last yucky one for this ditto. I see 25, 5, and 125, so it looks like we're going to use 5s. This first step here, I'll go ahead and write. That's 5 squared, changing the 25 out with 5 squared. Now, this guy right here, since I know I'm going to run out of room, would become a fractional exponent, 1 over 5 to the 2/3. Then when I move it to the top, it's 5 to the negative 2/3. And now it's up there in the numerator. So from here to here is several steps, depending on how many you want to skip. If you can go from here to here, that's awesome. That's a plain 5, so there's nothing to do with it. I'm just going to write 5. And that looks like 2x plus 5, 2x plus 5. The number 125 is 5 to the 3rd power, and it's got a 4th root. So our radical, or a fractional exponent for this radical, is 3/4. So some confusing steps there with the radicals in this fraction. That was tough. I have to combine these two, which means I just have to add these guys together. So when I come to this next step, I'm going to write a plus symbol right here. I'll go ahead and do that now. 2/3 plus. My pencil lead is very yucky. 2x plus 5 equals 3/4. So I combined those to a single 5, but I didn't actually write it. That was already a single 5, so at that point I just set the exponents equal to each other. For my fraction busters now, I'm going to multiply everything by a common denominator. The common denominator looks like it's going to be 12. So I'm going to multiply everything by 12. So this fraction is going to turn into negative 8 plus 24x plus 60 equals 9. My last step now is to start to solve this thing. 24x equals, if I brought the 60 over and I brought the 8 over, subtract 60, that's negative 51. Add 8 is negative 43. Negative 43, I should double check that with my calculator. 9 minus 60, and then add 8, negative 43. We're good. And then the last step there, to divide by 24. Negative 43 divided by 24 is your answer. All right, try to do the ones we skipped. Hopefully you did all right.